Hey guys, so today I'm gonna do a quick video that is a tag video, and it is a tag on your reading habits. And Carolyn Storer, who does Book Chick City, did this on her YouTube channel, and I thought it would be fun to do because I don't really do many of these extra videos. Okay, so on to the questions. The first one is, do you have a certain place at home to read? We are now living at my parents' for a few months while we build our new house, but at my old house I did have this really super like comfy, sealy chair that I loved to read in, and it was perfect because you could like hang your feet over one end and lean on the other end, and it was just a perfect place to read. So that was probably my favorite place at home to read, although I do also read in bed sometimes too. The second question is bookmark or random piece of paper. Pretty much anything. Random piece of paper, food wrappers, whatever. I will use whatever I have laying around as a bookmark. So anything. I do not like dog ear in my pages. I hate it. So yeah, that answers that one. Third question, can you stop reading, or do you have to stop after a chapter or a number of pages? I do not like to stop reading in the middle of a chapter unless it's an exceptionally long chapter and there's like a natural break in the chapter. I also have a very strange superstition about stopping at chapter 13. I have to read through chapter 13, and it drives my husband nuts because he'll be all like, oh, are we going to bed soon? And I'm like, no, I just finished chapter 12. I have to read chapter 13. So it's kind of weird. Question number 4, do you eat or drink while reading? Not very often. Sometimes if I do have time at work to like read for 20 minutes during lunch, I will like read a Kindle book on my phone and like eat my sandwich while I do that. But that's not very typical for me. I usually like to concentrate on reading. Fifth question is, do you watch TV or listen to music while reading? I do not watch TV while reading. It's just too distracting. I will occasionally listen to music while reading, especially like some nice downbeat techno or something in the background, just to block out other sounds in the household so I can concentrate on reading. Okay, so question number 6 is, do you read a book or one book at a time or several at once? I read several books at once, but I only read one book of each type of format, if that makes sense. So usually I'm listening to an audiobook on my drives to and from work. I'm reading an ebook because I can read that really easily when I'm like at my son's karate or swimming lessons, or I have 20 minutes at work for lunch I could read. And then I read one paper book, which is the one I usually read in my comfy chair at home or in bed. And then a lot of times I will be reading a graphic novel series, which I kind of will read in between everything else. So generally I'm reading 4 books at once, but they're all different formats, and I usually try to make sure they're somewhat different genres. So I'll be listening to a fantasy book, reading a young adult, you know, paranormal book, and doing like a steampunky book, and then, you know, reading a graphic novel that's completely different from everything else. All right, Question 7 is reading at home or everywhere. I read everywhere. In fact, I have been doing that since a very young age. I always have a book in my purse, or now that our phones can do ebooks really easy, I have a Galaxy Note 4, so it's a pretty big screen. I always have books with me, and I love it. And it drives my family crazy, but if we have downtime, I will start reading. So it doesn't matter where I am. It doesn't matter if I'm in the car or in a waiting area, or they start watching a TV show I don't want to watch. I just always am reading. 8, reading out loud or silently in your head. I read really fast, so I tend to read silently in my head. There are some books that are very fun to read out loud. For instance, like Catherine Invalente's novels are very lyrical and very fun to read out loud. I do read out loud to my son every night, so I do read out loud in those instances, but generally it's silently in my head because I read much faster that way. 9, do you ever read ahead or skip pages? I really don't like to read ahead. I feel like you're gonna I'm really against it. I won't necessarily skip pages, but if I'm reading a book I don't like and I think it's awful, but I just have a little bit more left, I will scan pages. So I will quickly read through and pick out the important points and kind of just scan through it really quickly. So it's not really skipping pages, but I will skip words and just kind of, I'll read the dialogue or whatever, just because I want to get done and I don't like this book. The last question is question number 10, breaking the spine or keeping it like new. I hate breaking the spine. I absolutely hate it. I try to keep it like new if I can, but there are some books, like if you get these really big paperbacks, the spine's going to break when you read it. There's just nothing you can do. That is something my son has no problem with. He breaks the spine on all of his books, but he's only 8, so maybe he'll learn to not do that. But I really do like to keep my books like new. I do like to swap my books and share them with friends. So, you know, it really is advantageous for me to keep it looking nice and new, and I like my books pretty. So those are the questions about reading habits, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll tag some of the people who are following me here on YouTube, and I will talk to you later. Bye.